All right, welcome to Dark Outdoors. And if you haven't noticed, there's been a lot of crazy stuff about drones from the Atlantic to the Gulf of Mexico to beyond. I even had an episode that's got a lot of downloads right now on some drone incursions that I've interviewed people about. But a friend of mine turned me on to Scott Tompkins here, who is a kindred soul as we're speaking here. Loves the outdoors. He's into the Bigfoot phenomenon, has the Bigfoot mapping project. But right now, the reason we have him on is he has a drone mapping project to kind of document what's going on with these drone incursions and strange drone sightings around America. So, welcome to the program, Scott.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's great to talk with a kindred spirit who loves the outdoors as much as I do, probably more.
Nah, I don't know
And
about that. I mean, I think we all, if we love it, we love it. You know?
yeah, it's in your blood, right? It
Yeah.
just you can't get rid of it, and nor do you want to, right? So,
Hmm.
but I'm happy to be here and talk about how my experience with the Bigfoot Mapping Project inspired me and helped me develop the skills to launch the Drone Tracker app in real time. I mean, it's very quick and dirty,
Hmm.
but it just showcases, in my mind, what the power of GIS is with geographic information systems and
Hmm.
crowdsourcing in response to real time events where you need to put information in context. And there's a lot that goes along with that, right? Like making sure you're not getting trolled, making sure it's good
Hmm.
information. And that takes analysis and QA and QC and all these things. But the first and most important part, in my mind, is being able to gather information and put it all in one place for people to digest, use, make decisions with, analyze, all of the above. No,
But so you have this database where people can go in and you can put, coordinates and all this, feed this information stuff in there. But getting out to the drone part of this, what was the
sure.
sense of urgency for you about this?
The the sense of urgency that really pushed me to get the app built and
Mhm.
out as quickly as I could was really a little bit of concern for what they could be.
Mhm.
So we still don't really know, I guess,
Nope.
what the real reason is that they're out there. So I just there's huge population centers, New York, New Jersey. It's huge
Mhm.
metropolitan areas, and if there is something that could possibly be nefarious or dangerous or something going on, and I could do anything to help to get to that answer
Mhm.
with my limited skill set, right? I look at things through a narrow lens, so GIS,
Mhm.
right? But I just thought that if I can make a tool that helped anybody get that one clue that answered something or get that one thing that they made a decision on, that one point that they made a decision on that helped them,
Mhm.
uh, then it was worth gathering this information as quickly as possible so we could get to that result as quickly as possible. And I'll make an analogy. It's similar to me like a missing persons case, right? The first 48 hours, the most important window of time
Mhm.
to either find that person, recover them, or get a positive result. So I really applied that mindset to the drone situation where it's all
Mhm.
right, this is just starting to happen. What can we gather? I'm seeing all this stuff on Instagram and videos and stuff, but there's no context. There's no location
Right.
context.
Mhm.
I don't know, how do I triangulate what's happening? How do I figure out concentration areas they're
Mhm.
concentrating on, like hotspots, like you're talking about?
Mhm. Mhm.
How do we really put this into a geographic context so people can understand what's happening, how much is happening in certain places, and get a better picture? Because maps can tell a lot with a simple glance, right? If they're done well. So that's really what I was trying to do was put information in context in a geographic format, i.e. map,
Mhm.
and tie that information to a physical point so that people can really start to understand the some part of the picture, that facet of it, in a
Mhm.
easy to access way.
Well, my concern for this drone thing has been what everyone's concern is. What the heck is really going on? One of my
Yeah.
favorite bands is Queensryche, and they have a song called Revolution Calling. There's a lyric that says, "Who do you trust when everyone's a crook?" So
Hmm.
that's kind of the situation, whether it's the politicians or the media are social media giants or whatever. So it's great to have sort of an unbiased version of like we can
Right.
look at what's going on out there. But the other part is in my domain of the outdoors, I've been hearing things about drone type vehicles and drones for a couple of years. Not at this level of like, following Coast Guard boats, but tracking hunters in the woods, strange drone sightings in the marsh, and, bigger drones than like a hobbyist you think would have out in odd places, stuff like that. And so
Right.
it's been in the back of my mind a while. And then when I started looking at there's a hunter harassment side of this. There's actually been legislation in multiple states about this. You can go back in the archives of Dark Outdoors and get the first drone episode and check that out. But when this started happening, I thought, well, we don't know. This could be a foreign actor, it could be homegrown terror, it could be who knows what it could be.
Right.
But if someone was going to turn the switch and want to test hurting someone or something like that, the place to do would be in the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic Ocean on a fishing boat, somewhere out in the marsh. And so since we don't know, I thought I better jump on this because outdoors people are very observant people. Fishermen, hunters, hikers, birders are all very observant. Their whole part of the outdoors is seeing and experiencing. So I thought it'd be good to reach out to you. I'm so grateful you got to come on and talk about this. Now, I know we're very early in stages of having this thing out, but is there anything that's caught your attention yet?
As you point out, we're very early to be
Mhm.
drawing conclusions. It's still at the
Yeah.
information gathering stage. However, if you look, I just before the episode, before we started recording,
Hmm.
created a hotspot layer that is dynamic. So the more reports that are populated, we'll start to
Hmm.
see at least where these drones are concentrated. And I think from there we can start to I want to say dissect, but to parse out what's happening in different areas because it might be the same thing, it might not be all the same thing.
Hmm.
You know, are they uh are they can we corroborate two reports that are, in the same area? We're going to need to filter out historical flight data, all of these things that take a bit of time to do that analysis,
Sure.
right? So the first and most obvious thing to point out would be a more accurate picture of the spatial concentration of where these drones are actually being seen. Because we are getting reports of where people say they saw them, but tying those
Hmm.
to a physical location from a crowdsourcing aspect or a crowdsourcing method um, really, I think, helps us because one person can't be everywhere, right? But if this information is coming in from people that are experiencing this in real time, we can kind of monitor what's happening. So I wish I could say more and have a better conclusion, but the site's been live for about, just over 24 hours, maybe 30 hours. So,
Well, it's snarky journalists like me have to ask questions like this. I'm like, have you already found the secrets?
oh,
But
I will,
I looked at the layover you took right before we went on, and you see, some of what's in the media kind of links up to some hot spots, East Coast, some of those kind of things. So definitely, if you're listening out there, it's a great way to contribute if you've encountered something like that out there. Now, the question I need to ask for our listeners is this for a I think a lot of people may see lights now and think drone.
right.
Is there some kind of separation you're trying to do between unusual lights and what looks to be a drone?
There's been requests for that. For example, like orb type
Yeah.
unusual lights.
Hmm.
I probably should add that to
Hmm.
the survey form
Hmm.
so that I can easily filter that. That is not something that occurred to me when I was building the app
Hmm.
because, I mean, obviously I'm not focused on this topic. I just happened to respond to what I was
No.
seeing in the news and in the headlines. So I was focused on drones, right? And
Hmm.
when you're in something, you learn more, right? So,
Absolutely.
and I think that's one of the beauties of crowdsourcing is we can react and it's kind of a living document. I can respond to information we're receiving. And I also just have to think of the method by which we're doing it. Is this is this repeatable? I'm trying to follow the scientific method. Is this repeatable? What's my actual hypothesis? or am I going in and gathering information as much as possible, and then from what I'm learning, forming a hypothesis and figuring out how I'm going to research and analyze this? Um, so it's very, very new, live, early, whatever, however you want to say it. But I will say there are interesting things that have been submitted or mailed to me or messaged to me, about different theories, and whether I subscribe to them or not, I
Mhm.
haven't decided yet. But I can certainly share what people have shared with
Okay.
me.
Mhm.
The first one is, I think you alluded to it earlier. They're sniffing for like gamma radiation,
Yeah.
flying
Looking for the
low.
Hulk.
Right. Right. For that's funny. For radiation or some kind of biological agent, or some kind of signature, those types of things.
Okay.
That's why they're flying low. Um, then there's an article that somebody posted that says this is just a corridor that was agreed to for more of a military purpose, testing corridor in New Jersey. So there's that aspect. Then there's people that are saying it's just our government testing, how people track and react to drones, because um, one of the biggest things that has occurred in the war in Ukraine is people in the field with cell phones reporting locations and things like that.
Mhm.
So they're monitoring how, testing how the public interacts to seeing these drones, and how they respond to this new technology. So there's a lot of different theories out there. And I really hope that it's the most harmless one.